7K subscribers, but 1 million views, bro. Like, that shit crazy.
Now a superstar. But on draft night, Giannis wasn't always viewed in that manner. You see, in the 2013 draft, Giannis was taken with the 15th pick by, of course, the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, if you don't know, for a player of that caliber, that's extremely low. And it made me wonder, who was every player that was drafted with the 15th pick?
We already know.
With the first
this
nigga! NBA draft, the
Nah,
Cleveland
that's dead
Cavaliers
crazy.
select
Like Anthony Bennett.
So a lot of you are familiar with the name Anthony Bennett for being the biggest bust in NBA history. But in college, you know, this guy was tough. You know, he averaged 16 points per game as a true freshman. In college, he played well, but nobody, nobody viewed him as the most talented prospect in the draft class. Well, nobody except the Cleveland Cavaliers. When he stepped on the court, he surprised everyone, and I'm talking about in a bad way. It took him 5 games to record his first NBA field goal. And
nah, I remember those.
That has to be
I did remember that shit. That shit was crazy. It took you 5 games to get 1 bucket. 5 games to get 1 bucket. And you're on a team like this. It's not like you're on some nice team where you just getting garbage minutes, nigga. You're like, you're getting burned. Like, it's just crazy.
I've seen guys scoring the NBA off cuts and just
exactly
being
like
at the right place at the right time. He would only average 4 points in his rookie season, and man, that's
dirty.
Thing is that the expectations got to him. You know, he was an underrated prospect. You know, he wasn't really a hyped up prospect until Cleveland drafted him #1. After his rookie season, Cleveland, they saw enough. They wanted no parts of Anthony Bennett, so they traded him. They traded him to the Timberwolves only 57 games into the season.
Sheesh. That's first season too. Like, the #1 pick traded first season.
They cut bait with him. They released him. From there, Anthony Bennett would play in Toronto, Brooklyn, Houston, and he would spend some time in the G League.
At least he's around the area. Like, you feel me? Like, he's like, that's how you know he's not shitty. He just can't play in the A.
Looking for Anthony Bennett today, you can find him playing professional basketball overseas.
With the second pick in the 2013 NBA draft, the Orlando Magic select Victor
Oladipo. Victor Oladipo was good. He was nice.
Played college ball at Indiana University, and he was a freak athlete. He averaged 14 points a game, and he would then be selected by the Orlando Magic. His career actually got off to a fairly quick start. In his first 4 years in the league, he was averaging about 16 points per game. He played well in Orlando, but his career would really take off after being traded to the Pacers.
Yeah, and then this shit fucked up. His knee killed him.
His Cousins has left. He has 2 fouls. That's why he's out as Oladipo went right around Cunningham. Finds Turner.
Dime.
The point is, Victor Oladipo, at least for that 2017 season, he was really good. He made it to the All-Star game. He averaged 23 points per game, and he went toe-to-toe against LeBron in the playoffs. But since this season, Victor hasn't been the same player. And
he got hurt.
Really because of injuries. You know, I think he's still capable of being really good, but he just hasn't been able to stay healthy, which is just unfortunate. This past season, Victor would play for the Miami Heat, and in the games that he was active for, he was actually playing solid, but once again, Victor would suffer another season-ending injury.
Damn, son, you just gotta sit down for the whole season, drink some fucking vitamins, stretch, nigga. Stretch, bro. Otto Porter?
As a sophomore in college, Otto averaged 16 points per game, and he was awarded with the Big East Player of the Year. Otto Porter Jr. was known as the most complete prospect in the draft class. You know, he was extremely versatile, and I think that's what made him so intriguing.
And he's
tall. He was drafted third by the Wizards, and this selection had a lot to do with fit. He was joining a solid Washington team. You know, they were competitive. And what more can you ask for coming into the league? Otto Porter would last 5 seasons in Washington before being traded to the Chicago Bulls. After 1 season in Chicago, he was again traded, this time to the Orlando Magic. Otto Porter
He's
Jr.
there,
is far from being a star in the league, but he's a respectable role player. He's a great 3-and-D player. He shoots the ball well. He defends. And
good
for
block.
his career, he averages about 10 points per game, so
He's straight.
Solid production.
He's straight. He good in there. He good. He chilling. He's chilling. He's gonna get money. He's gonna get his money, and then eventually he's gonna get old enough to the point where now it's my turn to take the lead. You know what I'm saying? Like he was gonna get that time. Cody
He
Zeller.
would attend Indiana University, and he would average about 16 points per game, and he would grab 7 rebounds to go along with that. Even though he put up the numbers, the thing that made him a solidified top 5 draft pick was his basketball IQ. He didn't exactly live up to the expectations and standards for a player selected that high, but he is still solid. You know, again, he's a role
He
player.
dead lost his hair, bro. Like that shit is crazy. Like you came into the league with a full head of hair, and then 7 years later.
Very prime, but when he is active and healthy,
Might as well go
he
bald,
averages
man.
about 9 points per game. So
Might as well go
Kobe
bald.
is one of the players on this list
Look at
that
him.
still remains on the same team that drafted him.
That's still pain though. Like, he still fuck with him.
The Phoenix Suns select Alex Len.
He not here no
As
more.
a sophomore at Maryland, he would come back to school and he would improve in just about every statistical category. He doubled his scoring output, and he really impressed scouts with his soft touch, footwork, and defensive instincts. Entering the league, he would be selected to a Phoenix team that was rebuilding, and his career didn't take off like most expected it to. He played 4 seasons in Phoenix, averaging about 7 points and 7 rebounds.
That's valid.
Signing with Atlanta in 2018, he would put together his best season. He was averaging 11 points and 6 rebounds.
So you're
which was
straight.
the most he ever averaged throughout a season. So something was clicking for him in Atlanta, but unfortunately, his time in Atlanta wouldn't last long. Since then, he's played in Sacramento, Toronto, and this past season, he played with the Washington Wizards.
He's still here though. Like he's just being moved around. Like he's like a trading piece for real. Like that's what his true skill is. It's just being a good trading piece.
The New
Like
Orleans Pelicans select Nerlens Noel.
Leaving college, he was projected to be the #1 pick in the 2013 draft, but he just could not stay healthy. You know, late in the season, he would suffer a torn ACL, which was probably the worst thing that could happen to him. No team wants to draft a player that's recovering from an injury, especially not an injury that's severe to the point where it requires surgery. So that's why he would end up falling in the draft. Alright, so when he got to Philly, you know, it was the best way to describe the situation was literally like a roller coaster ride. You know, his first 2 years were respectable, but I think the biggest problem is that he was just defensive minded. Like he had no offensive skill set, and that's a problem with the way the NBA was shifting, because everybody
they want somebody to shoot
on the offensive end. You know, Philly went out and they basically drafted his replacement in back-to-back years. First they drafted Joel Embiid, then they drafted Jahlil Okafor. So as you can imagine, that meant that he would be getting less play time, and he wasn't too happy about that.
I'm not an 8-minute player, so I don't know what that's about. So I don't care where. I don't really care. I need to be on the court playing basketball. I think I'm too good to be playing 8 minutes. Like, no, that's crazy. That's crazy.
But you just went 1 for 4. I feel you though.
That's crazy.
In 2017, Philly, they had enough of him, so they would trade him to the Dallas Mavericks, and
He did alright there.
Played with the OKC
He did alright there.
and most
He did alright there
recently
too.
the New York Knicks.
He went to the
plays about
playoffs.
20 minutes per game, and he averages about 5 points, 7 rebounds.
So you talking about you not an 8-minute player? You just like out of 8 minutes, you got 12 more minutes and only created 3 more points. You only created 3 more points. You played 12 more minutes. Like, come on, son.
Plays about 20 minutes per
20
game.
minutes. 20 minutes per game.
He averages about 5 points, 7 rebounds, and about 2 blocks.
Yeah, you're mainly defensive. Like, you don't do nothing offensive.
With the 7th pick, the Sacramento Kings select
McLemore.
Ben McLemore
He
was
played in
a baller
LA.
at the University of Kansas. He was explosive, athletic, and he could score the ball at an efficient rate. Leaving Kansas, he was regarded as the most talented prospect in the draft class, even drawing comparisons to Ray Allen. Come draft night, he was selected by Sacramento.
Yes, sir.
He didn't exactly
He didn't do
live
shit,
up to
for
the
real.
hype. He spent the first half of his career suffering on a Sacramento team that just wasn't very good. In 2019, he was released by Sacramento, but later signed a deal with the Houston Rockets, where he would prove that he can still shoot the ball at a high level. This past season, he played for the
LA.
Los Angeles Lakers, and he was averaging about 8 points per game, and he shot about 30.
Nah, he was going crazy. He was going crazy. He was going crazy this year. Like, this was probably one of his like best years in a couple years. Like, no cap.
From three.
He said 57.
8 points per game, and he shot about 37% from three.
I mean, he's still gonna get paid. He's gonna get a check somewhere.
The 8th pick in the 2013 NBA draft, the Detroit Pistons select Kentavious Caldwell-Pope.
KCP would attend the University of Georgia, and he was a marksman from three, averaging about 19 points as a sophomore. Later that year, KCP was drafted by the Detroit Pistons. He would spend 4 seasons with the Pistons before signing with the Lakers as a free agent. KCP has had both ups and downs, but overall, he's a somewhat solid 3-and-D player. The only problem is consistency.
That's what everybody has, consistency.
9th pick, the Minnesota Timberwolves select Trey Burke.
Trey Burke was
Where he
a
went?
stud at the University of
Where'd he go?
Michigan.
He was, last time I seen him, he was in New York. Last time I did seen him, he was either in New York or the Timberwolves. One or the other.
19 points, 7 assists, along with the trip to the national championship game. Entering the league, we all thought Trey had star potential, and
see, in the NBA right now, bro, that's a foul.
Entering
Look,
the league, we all thought Trey
that's a
had
foul.
star potential.
That's a foul in the
So
NBA.
Utah Jazz,
If he falls down, it's a
traded
foul.
away 2 first-round draft picks to select a guy that they believe would be a transcendent talent. I think we found out fairly quickly that he wouldn't be in Utah for long. Trey Burke would last 3 years in Utah before being traded to the Washington Wizards for a second-round draft pick, which is crazy because they traded 2 first-rounders to select him. Since the trade, he's played for numerous teams, operating as a spark plug off the bench. This past season, he played for the Dallas Mavericks, and he averaged about 7 points per game.
He's straight. He's not going nowhere.
With the 10th pick in the 2013 NBA draft, the Portland Trailblazers select
C.J. McCollum.
C.J. McCollum attended a small school, Lehigh University. He was a high-scoring combo guard that averaged 21 points throughout his collegiate career. Following his senior season, he was drafted to Portland, and he's turned himself into a respected.
Yo,
Johnny, check your cash app real quick and tell me if the nigga that the cash app I sent the band from, if they requested the band back. I mean, it's not like they can get it back or whatever. It don't matter. That was I mean, my bread. But I just want to see if the nigga does that day room shit, because my other son told me he requested it back. This phone right here.
payment. I don't think he did.
You don't think he did?
Nah, it said on Wednesday. Nah.
They don't say nothing. Alright.
Nothing after the cash out.
Oh, alright, bet. Fuck. My other son told me he tried to request it. I'm just like, yo, bro, what's this little nigga, bro? He's weird, bro.
Damn.
Stupid damn. Like a nigga about to accept it and send it back to him. Just fucking rude.
You try to get. Alright, bro. Be safe. Where you at though?
I'm about to go right around the corner to the car shop where my little brother got his me. I'm about to take him. He about to come with me. They gotta do a couple little ones and twos to his shit.
Yeah.
I gotta go fix and shit. So when I'm done, I'm gonna call you.
Alright, bet. Alright, y'all be safe.
Name. In the last 6 years, he's averaged at least 20 points per game. He's a respectable talent. He's just not Giannis.
He just not Giannis. That's a fact, though. He's just not.
The Philadelphia 76ers select
Rookie of the year. This is Rookie of the Year right here.
Michael Carter Williams.
Michael Carter Williams played college ball at the University of Syracuse, and his potential was on full display. In his improved sophomore season, he averaged about 12 points and 7 assists. Now, the thing that made him an intriguing prospect was his size. He was a 6'6" point guard. He was a great playmaker, and he just had great feel for the game that you don't see often from a collegiate athlete. And that's why the Philadelphia 76ers drafted him. So in MCW's rookie season, he took off. Like, he came out of nowhere, averaging 17 points per game, and he was awarded with
that was like you was on the worst team, so it's like you could score, like you just not winning.
The Rookie of the Year trophy. The sad part is the organization, they never believed in him. They never viewed him as a franchise talent. So the next season, he was traded to Milwaukee to play alongside Giannis. From there, his career went downhill. He suffered multiple injuries. He lost confidence.
Nigga double dribble.
His career went downhill.
Look.
He suffered multiple injuries.
Oh yeah, I'm
lost
lying.
confidence, and ultimately he failed to adapt to the modern style of basketball, meaning he's never been the best shooter. As for today, he's currently playing for the Orlando Magic, and he's been a solid role player.
With the 12th pick, the Oklahoma City Thunder select Steven Adams.
Steven Adams is solid.
Attended the University of Pittsburgh. He didn't exactly put up the most appealing numbers, but you could definitely see the potential. When he got to OKC, he was a bit of a project. However, he would eventually develop into a reliable center, and it definitely helped that his point guard was Mr. Triple-Double himself. Aquaman is athletic. He's a great rebounder, and he's extremely physical.
That man is strong.
In the 2017 season, Steven would put together his best outing. He would average 13 points and 9 rebounds, which would land him a massive 4-year,
Boardman gets paid.
$100 million contract.
Boardman gets paid.
Today, he plays for the New Orleans Pelicans, and this past season, he averaged about 8 points and 9 rebounds.
Same thing.
With the 13th pick, the Dallas Mavericks select Kelly Olynyk.
Kelly Olynyk attended Gonzaga University. In his junior season, on average, he put up about 18 points and 7 rebounds. On top of that, his maturity was on full display. Entering the league, Kelly wasn't thought of as this prospect that had high upside or even star potential. He was more so viewed as a prospect that can come in and give you quality minutes at the center position. That's pretty much what he did when he got to Boston. Since entering the league, Kelly has been consistent. You know exactly what you're going to get from him on a nightly basis. He's been in the league for 8 years now, and he's played for multiple teams, including the Celtics, Heat, and recently the Rockets. This past season, he did average 19 points per game.
Sheesh! 19? It don't be sounding like... That's impressive.
Career, he averages about 10 points along with 5 rebounds.
I mean, that's career. This season, like, bro... If he does the same thing again, he's getting paid. For sure, he's getting paid.
The Utah Jazz select
Shabazz Muhammad attended UCLA. He was...
I heard his name before. I think he still played. I think he played on the Knicks or some shit. I said the Knicks, the Nets.
As a freshman, he averaged 18
the
points
Celtics.
per game, which shows that at least on the collegiate level, he could put the ball through.
Wait, they said 18?
Points per game. He was referred to as a pure scorer. As a freshman, he averaged 18 points per game.
Yeah, he's going to the A. You listen. If you in D1, in a clouded up D1, and you averaging over 12 points, you're going to the A. You're going to the A.
Level, he could put the ball through the basket. On
Gangster, you're going to the A.
He was traded to the Minnesota Timberwolves, and in his rookie season, he did not play immediately. But by his second year, which was the 2014 season, he began to play significant minutes. He would score about 14 points per game, which was the most he ever averaged throughout his entire career. If you were to glance at his numbers, you'd probably think he was a respectable player, but that was not exactly the case.
So probably after that.
Shabazz Muhammad wasn't scoring the basketball. He served you little value. He wasn't the best defender. He wasn't the best rebounder, and he definitely wasn't the best passer. He was one of the guys I've seen that can score 20 and have little impact on winning. Shabazz Muhammad last played professional basketball in 2019. He played in the Chinese Basketball League.
Damn. Who was the last one?
With the 15th pick in the 2013
I'm saying? That's really crazy, though. That's really crazy. We gotta watch this, too. I'm definitely watching that. For sure. For sure. Not now, though.